right, so good evening, everyone. It's good to have you. I hope you found some peace, perhaps just a little bit, with not having to do anything in particular, having no task, just simply being here, not having to concentrate, not having to push yourself to do fancy mental gymnastics. No need to do anything at all. There's so many things going on. There's so many feelings to observe. So many thoughts, so many moods, so many sounds, sights, smells. And it's all just naturally happening, isn't it? We're not doing any of it. Just like you're not sitting here and growing your hair with effort, or beating your heart, or doing your liver, or replacing old cells, fabricating new cells. All that is totally effortless, right? So the same goes for your brain activity. Why would you try to control brain activity, but you wouldn't try to control liver activity? But somehow a lot of people seem to be very obsessed about their brain activity, trying to turn it into a different brain activity. Like then you get these ideas, thoughts are bad, I shouldn't have any thoughts. And then you start to try to push your thoughts out of your head. Shouldn't have any thoughts. God, I shouldn't be distracted either. And it becomes super stressful. You sit here and do meditation. Outwardly look very, very peaceful and nice, like a Buddha. But inwardly you're like so stressed. Just trying to all the time. What are you trying? Like literally, there's nothing in nature that requires any trying. A tree doesn't try to grow. A cloud doesn't try to float. The rain doesn't try to pour. The wind doesn't try to blow. It's totally absurd. And somehow we've got it into our heads that we need to try to live alive. What does that actually mean? I need to live my life. What do you really mean by that? I mean, really, define life. What is it that needs to live life? What would that be exactly? Can you pinpoint it? Well, it's me. I need to live my life. I have a lot of responsibilities. Okay, fair enough. What is it that has a lot of responsibilities? What precisely is it? And don't be vague, like, it's me. I mean, what is that? What is that you refer to as me? What would that exactly be? That me that you talk so much of seems to have a whole lot of problems. I have so many problems. I need to solve all of my problems. And life is really difficult. And I have so much stress. And I need this. And I wouldn't want that. And why does always this happen to me? And why now? And should I not? I need to be more concentrated. I need to be less. I have too many thoughts. It's so much drama around that little letter I. But nobody seems to have a clue what it actually is. What would happen if you were to turn your gaze within and actually look for that which you refer to as I? Where would you have to look for it? What would you do if I told you, well then, look at that I. What is it that is looking at the eye? I am. Okay, so is the eye the one that looks? Then ask yourself further, what would this observer of life, what kind of problems would that observer actually have? Well, the observer itself doesn't have any problems, right? If you take a close look, what problems does awareness have? It's just aware. It's doing its job of being aware of knowing things. That's just what it does. It's its function to know things. Its function is not to have problems. So what is it that has problems then? It doesn't seem to be your awareness. It doesn't seem to be the one that is onlooking. But it feels like, really, I do have a lot of problems. My life is full of problems, and I need to solve all of them. Let's move away from the I and let's look at life. What's that? What is life? Now you may all come up with some sort of thing, right, in your head. Life is blah, 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 whatever, some story. Is it that? Is life a bunch of words in your head? Is that what life is? A bunch of names, a bunch of images, memories, thoughts. Is that what life is? What do I mean when I say my life? And in meditation, when we come into presence, we actually look at things. We don't think about them. Right? You don't sit down and think it all through in your head. That's not what meditation is. Meditation means you're looking directly at what is actually happening right now. That's it, really. So you're being super honest. You're being very honest with yourself. You're looking directly at what is it that I'm doing right now. And you will find out that you're not doing that much at all. You're doing just 6 things. 1, you're hearing, listening. 2, you're feeling. 3, you're seeing, smelling. 4, 5, tasting. And 6, thinking. Apart from that, you're not doing much else. That's all that happens, really. That's all that exists. Seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and thinking. That's the complete summary of your body. That's all your body does. Doesn't do much else. The body is a vehicle that allows you to see, hear, smell, taste, feel, and think. That's all that's going on. So perhaps that's what life is then. When you get out of the thicket of thoughts and you look at it from above, like you are aware that there is thinking, there is feeling, there is hearing, right? And you kind of gain some distance there and you become aware of all those things that are happening, then you see that's it. There's nothing else there. That's all. There is these 6 things, but a problem can't be found. I challenge you. Really look for a problem. In order to have a problem, you would have to forget that you are thinking, and you would have to be identified with the thinking and be totally lost in it. Much like every night when you go to sleep and you have a dream. It only works because you don't know that you're dreaming. You're totally fooled by your own brain activity. Totally. You're hallucinating an entire world up in your own head. And the only way this works is because you just don't know what's going on, because you're totally lost in it. So the opposite of being lost in your brain activity is awareness. You're awake to, aware of the brain activity. And that's what we're training in meditation. We're training to step back and watch ourselves as an object. So you're watching the activity of hearing, feeling, thinking, etc. as an objective quality that is happening right in front of you as an observer to it. That is called detachment. Detachment doesn't mean becoming emotionally cold to stuff. That's not what it does. It's not indifference. Detachment means that you would see the activity of indifference as an observer, not as a driver or somebody that's involved with it, that is wearing the indifference like a coat or like a pair of glasses. Or I'm looking at the world and I feel nothing. That would be looking at the world through the perception of indifference. What we want to do is take off those glasses and see the glasses. But you don't see the glasses when you wear them. You see stuff through your glasses. So awareness is that. And so we train ourselves to take steps back, to see ourselves more and more clearly, more and more honestly. So instead of telling yourself, I'm a liberal, I'm a Democrat, I'm left, I'm right, I'm this, I'm that, which means you're totally lost in your head, in your dreams. You become awake to that and you see, thinking. Now you're honest. Well, I'm deluded by my own thoughts. That's what just happened. I was deluding myself by my own brain activity, much like I do every single night when I dream. I'm deluding myself. I don't know what is going on. That's why it works. For those of you who watch the movie Matrix, it's very similar to that concept actually. It's only that the Matrix is your own mind. It's not some machines that are manipulating you. It could well be, but that's not the case. The mind is by far more insidious because it's just right behind your own eyes. You don't even see it because it's that very thing that is looking and is looking through all of its perceptions and colors at the world. It both creates the world and observes the world. It's quite something. And of course, the core question in meditation practice or any spiritual training is the question of suffering. I'm suffering, I'm stressed. Even though I do not want to suffer, I experience suffering. As I always say, suffering is not something that is actually happening to you. Suffering is something that you do, just like a dream. But you don't know that you're doing it just like a dream. And so you become more aware, so you can see how you are doing it. And it starts very humble. It starts with very coarse little things. You may suddenly see that, oh wow, I'm thinking really a lot of negative thoughts all the time. That's a bit of more wakefulness. You suddenly notice something you've never seen before. Most of my thoughts are critical, negative. Oh, and I'm focusing constantly on the future. Not hopeful, but fearful. Oh, I'm constantly lost in my past. Oh, back in the days, everything was better. Life was easier. And now, oh God. And you don't even notice how you pull yourself down into this emotional abyss. But it's your doing. Just like a dream is your doing. But you don't notice that you're doing it. So awareness is the way out of suffering. Waking up, becoming lucid to your own daydreams. Noticing how your brain is constantly creating the world over and over again in accordance with its conditioning and its habits. The way your nervous system has been wired throughout lifetime, the way your chemicals fire throughout your body is conditioned. It's a result of the people you spend time with. It's a result of the books and the media that you consume. It's a result of the way you spend your time. That shapes your brain, your nervous system, your chemicals, everything, your body. And that shaping process, which then automatically just does the things that are familiar and habitual, that is what we can also refer to as karma, the process of action. The process of doing, creating, becoming. And then receiving the results of all our actions and decisions that we have made in the past. You see yourself habitually as a victim, then that's the way you experience life. And you can't help it because you don't see it. One of my teachers always says, the spiritual path lies in sincerity alone. If you are not able to look at yourself with brutal, absolute honesty, you can't get it. It's impossible. If you cannot see what you are doing to yourself right now, right here, the tendency is going to be that we delude ourselves constantly. That we don't even notice. So it starts with that sincerity in our life, in our daily interactions. If you got yourself in trouble, can you admit that you got yourself in trouble instead of blaming things, people, times, locations, this and that? Can you at least take that responsibility that you see that I am the creator of my own feelings and my suffering and my happiness and my joy and all of this? That's the first step into power. And then we go from there. The more you see, the more power you have. The more you can change. The more you can move, because you understand the whole machine more and more, because you're looking at it, you're observing it. So things open up. Things that you never thought were possible. You can change your thoughts, you can change your feelings, you can change your actions, and you can change your life through that knowledge. But as long as you don't see yourself clearly, then you're just a victim of your past conditioning. That's it. It's harsh, but that's the truth. It is only awareness that sets you free from that. Otherwise, we're just doomed to repeat the same thoughts, the same feelings and emotions, the same rituals, in and out, day in, day out. We don't change. Sometimes you meet people, year after year, they say the same stuff, they think the same thoughts. They haven't changed at all. It's like a broken record. No awareness. It's awareness that allows you to evolve, to change, and to move out of automatic, impulsive behaviors. That's why it's perhaps the greatest and most beautiful thing about us. All right, guys. Yeah, thank you very much for coming tonight. Have a good time. Enjoy your weekend.